Hello, everyone. This is Helen here. First, I wanted to thank you so much for having me in this group to the administrator. I'm here to answer a few of the questions that the ladies who make comments on one of my videos. Actually, it was my first video, and I was surprised. So many great comments, supporters. Um, there are a few questions that I want to answer individually, but there's so many. Many of them are alike. So today I'm here to bring in my coach, who is the amazing coach who got me all the results. And I thought it would be best for him to answer some of the technical questions, what I eat, my routine, so you have a better understanding that can help you achieve your goals. So I'd like to welcome my coach, Allan.
Hey, Helen, thank you so much for having me here and for asking me to even do this. Ladies, thank you so much for even taking a few minutes to hear this out. I wasn't expecting to do this. Helen just messaged me last night and told me about the remarkable amount of questions that were coming from her post. And she felt like she wouldn't be doing you any service by just leaving it or just, I'm not part of this group. Okay, this is obviously a women's only group, but I wanted to come and contribute because if Helen asked me to do it, she's one of my top athletes amongst the literally 2,300 people I've served over the last 11 years. She is probably one of the most dedicated people. Not to say my other ones aren't dedicated, but she lives and breathes it. Like, this is not something that she does just as a hobby. She is addicted per se to feeling younger, to looking better, to performing better in her activities and in her fitness life, which translates into her own personal life. Like, she has become an icon for a lot of women out there in their 50s to look like her. And you know what? She sent me some of the questions that you ladies have. And I mean, you're right on the money with all the stuff that you were asking her, hence why she asked me to come here and share, because I'm the one who was responsible for not only creating her workout program and guiding her through her eating program and her recovery programs, but also responsible for changing the routines as the years go by. Because this now, like we're coming to the end of 2020. She started with me in 2018, and how she trained in 2018 is very, very different from how she does it now in 2020. So she asked me to come in to help out, to answer questions as best to our knowledge, because ladies, being in this wonderful group that I, again, have no idea about, except I keep hearing there's like 80,000 of you in here, which is remarkable. And every woman in here is training, supporting each other. I mean, just from the size volume of this group, that you have different bodies, different age groups, different character types, different recovery response types to your different training types. So to give a cookie cutter answer would do all of you a disservice. So she asked me to come here to try to custom tailor the answer as best we could based on her results and based on what you might be able to use for yourself, for your own training. So you're not just thinking it's like, oh, just do this many sets, this many reps. It really does fluctuate per individual. And that's where it gets a little complex, right? So without further ado, let me just take 10 seconds real fast to tell you all about me as well, so you understand why Helen chose me and why she's asked me to come here. My background real quick is a self-defense instructor. I started in 2007. I started in the self-defense industry, transferred over to the fitness industry, became a fitness competitor, ranked top 5 throughout all of Canada in 2013 for a major supplement company, was asked to start training athletes. To fast forward now, everyone who I've trained has been everything from the 20-year-old getting ready for the military to police, to fire department, to regular moms and dads. And I've had everything from training people for the fight industry all the way into the fitness industry, and now females in their 50s into what we call the Masters and Grandmasters division of the fitness competitions that Helen's been taking part in. So in terms of range of experience, I've got a wide range, and I've had everything from people that were really muscular to people that had no muscles. and everything in between. So I'm probably well-rounded enough to at least give good answers on the questions all of you have been asking. So enough about me. Just want to give you that quick background. Miss Helen, could you maybe take a minute and just go through those questions? Because I have an idea what they are, but I would probably need some help because that's a lot of questions.
Thank you so much, Allan. Let's go through the questions that the ladies have for me, and I want you to share with your best knowledge in helping this woman. What the question is, please share your workout routine.
Okay, good question. So right now, Helen at 2020, her workout routine is a lot more advanced than what it was in 2018. And the difference between the two is that now in year 3, she's really strong. She's got a very strong core, which you obviously see from her videos. And a lot of the movements that she does now are it's shared between compound movements and targeted movements. All I mean is that right now she's doing both high reps and light weights mixed with heavy sets, heavy weight and short reps. And she's not just doing isolated movements where she just targets the abs, let's say, for example, or just the bicep, but she does functional movements where she'll do 2 or 3 different muscle groups at the same time. Now, this is different because in 2018, when Helen started, she had very strong, at the time, she had strong back muscles, upper back, but her lower back was messed. It was messy. Like, she used to wear patches, and it wasn't really a previous injury, but she was always having these back pains. So to answer that question, I know that you're probably asking because you want to know, well, what can you do for you? My personal recommendation on how I started Helen that can probably help you is look at what you want to accomplish for your own body. Number one, look at be dead honest with yourself, dead center honest. What do I like about my body? What do I not like? Whatever you don't like, usually it's good to start off with looking at workouts that target those muscle groups. And you can find lots on YouTube. And then start utilizing those workouts to start strengthening certain parts that may feel weak to you and certain parts that you feel might need toning to you, per se. And I say that almost questionarily because I don't know you. Like this, we're making this video on the fly. And that's usually the recommendation I give to someone when they're first starting out and they're asking, well, how do I start? How do I get going? Usually for most women, most females I've served, it's like usually 2 or 3 parts of their body that they really want to work on. Focus on that to start. Use YouTube to find the easy starting points.
So you're right. Look at what your body needs and then target those areas. My glutes were flat, so we target a lot of glute muscles, right? And then abs. I have 6 abs right now. So, like many women, I think focus on losing the weight. So thank you so much for that answer. Okay, next question is, we have it here, who is my coach. Go, Helen.
That would be me, 100%.
Okay, Allan, the next question is, let's see your macros diet and nutritional exercise. What is your secret?
Nice. So this is the secret simply for Helen was number 1, consistency, which sounds super simplistic, but let me explain what I mean. In the beginning, when people first start training, a lot of times they expect a fast result. Now, if you are a female who has a lower body fat percentage and maybe has give or take around 5 pounds that they got to lose, then chances are with a good consistency, like when Helen started, she was 5 days a week with me. 2018, she was 3 days a week with me. At the end of 2018, she started going to 4, then 5 days. When you're first starting out and you've got around 5 pounds to lose, if that's it, you'll see results fast. If you have more than 5 pounds to lose and you're under muscled, so let's say you have too low of a muscle percentage, so you can start seeing the kind of shape and form that you want your body to represent, then it'll take much longer. In all honesty, the thing about Helen is that, like she said before, she wasn't overweight, but she was under muscled, very under muscled. She had great upper back muscles, bad lower back muscles. She didn't have any glute muscles. Her hamstrings were very small. I say this respectfully, of course, because we want to be real. We want to be honest, right? 2018, all she saw was that she was stronger. That was it. So the layer of body fat that was covering her body, which was a very small amount, but it was enough to hide the muscles that she was building. We didn't see most of them in 2018. Actually, one of the biggest challenges we had was that we had to figure out a way to minimize the visual representation of the fat in the back of the legs and her glutes. There was cellulite back there. There's still a little bit now. And thankfully, you don't see it because of how we designed her body and how we've worked on her skin regimen, which I believe a lot of you have asked that. We'll discuss that later on. But we were able, in a nutshell, we're able to raise her muscle percentage enough and lower her body fat percentage enough so you could end up seeing the muscles coming through her body. Now, in terms of macros and diet, in the beginning, if I have to make this really simplified, we had to raise her water intake because we find 80 to 90% of people are actually dehydrated. And we had to increase her protein. Sounds simple again, and I'm sorry, this is not the most sexiest answer, but it's like this is the simple stuff done repeatedly creates results, and that's what we're all about, keeping it simple. We found that the protein level was too low, the carbohydrate level was a little bit too high in ratio to the protein. So what we did is we basically took her body weight and we used an equation, which was body weight equals grams of protein. Carbs for her metabolism type was 80%, 50 to 80% of her overall weight. We dropped that in grams. So a 100-pound person per se was taking somewhere between 50 to 80 grams of carbohydrates spread throughout the day based on an athletic lifestyle. It's obviously way less if it's someone who is sedentary, right? So to answer your question in a nutshell, more hydration, more protein was the main key. And her exercise regimen was using the machines by majority and targeting the muscle groups that she wanted to grow and to shape and to tone with some overall body routines. So she was growing in a very well-balanced fashion.
Women who have amazing women 5 times, 5 times given birth. And then she said she has this matter here that I think the middle muscles kind of separated, and then she wants to know if she can get tone in this area without getting surgery.
The short answer is yes. Throughout the 11 years I've been working as a trainer, I've had 3 ladies have that kind of situation, and the short answer is yes. Now specifically what I mean is that no matter how hard you work, what I find, this is just my own personal experience, what I find is that little protrusion in the stomach will always be there. But to make it look more attractive, all we do is we shave down the body fat in that area and we tone the muscles in the core. So not just in the front, but we also when we start to tone the oblique muscles, what it does is it still provides a smaller image, a smaller shape. And then when we tone out the whole body overall, all of a sudden having that little protrusion in the stomach, it becomes very minimal, very minuscule. And we've got that, we've got women one of our clients recently is 54. She finished a 90-day challenge with us and she looked phenomenal. She looked so good that you couldn't even tell that she had that issue around her stomach. She looked really, really good. Now, does that mean that you can wear whatever you want? In all honesty, depending on the person, some people don't like having even a little bit of a protrusion in the stomach. So for her, what she did is when she wanted to show off a more lean image, she would just wear short shorts and a bikini top. And she looked phenomenal. Like, she looked completely phenomenal. So yes, you can still look your best even though you have that situation. Maybe you can't get rid of it completely, but you can learn to work around it. So you still feel stunning. You still feel fantastic. You still look like a younger, sexier version of you, right? Because she's done it. And several of our clients have.
Thank you, Allan. Next question by Lena Buchanan. Stunning and loving seeing another Oriental lady gaining. How tall are you? Fellow Oriental chasing these goals.
That would be your question for sure.
That's my question.
Yep.
I am 5'3.5". The half is very important for me to be. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Which makes you even taller when you put your high heels on during the competitions.
Yes. I love high heel. Give me another 4 inch. Looks better on jeans. Thank you. Next question by Spring K. Williams. Amazing. How did you do it?
How did she do it? In short, she became very dedicated. She chose for 90 days to make it her lifestyle. Then after 90 days, she loosened up her training and her diet so she could balance living happy with incorporating training as part of her life versus something that she just has to do. She no longer has to do it. She loves it. She looks forward to doing it. So that's how she did it.
Thank you. Let's go down the list. Oh, this one, Kimmy MC. Shut up. Can I please look like this at that age?
Can I please look like this? Yeah. You know what? I believe, and we believe, that any person can. The question is a person willing to adjust their lifestyle for a period of time in order to get that result? Like, the way that I look at training and the way Helen does is you look at your body, and your body gives you a great indication of how you've lived for all these months and years. Now, that's not a good or bad. It just is what it is. And if we want to have a different result, we first have to ask ourselves, what are we willing to give up, to trade, to exchange for a short period of time in order to get to that next level of health and fitness? And if a person's willing to do that, 9 times out of 10, I find that it's hard not to hit the goal if you're headed in that direction. And being headed in that direction is based on the daily actions we take. So yeah, you definitely can. You just got to learn to do what she did.
Thank you, Allan. Next question. What's your diet and exercise do you do?
What's your diet? So in the beginning, your diet was more strict because there was a lot more to work on. When she first started in 2018, the short answer would be we increased her water intake. We made sure that her calories were on point. We made sure that her protein, her carbs, and her fiber were on point. And we did that in a way where it was flexible so she could enjoy her foods, but still stay within the ratios of what her body needed to make a functional change. And I mean functional as in it wasn't a yo-yo where it goes up and down, or she looks really good, but then she feels like crap, which sometimes happens when people do certain diets. What she ended up doing was that she ended up feeling good. She ended up having a lot of energy for her workouts, and her body was able to recover in a proper way, like in a timely manner. So we didn't have to take weeks out or days out for her to recover from each training. She would work out, and then she'd work out the next day, and she'd work out the next day, and then she'd take a day off, and she'd work out the next day. And it worked out really well.
Thank you. This question by Natalie Marie. Yes, but your
ethnicity
has a lot to do with your genes. Sent before photo.
Oh, that part I actually didn't know.
Yes.
Yeah. So just so you know, Natalie, I actually wrote that because she sent me these questions as well. So I'm peeking over to make sure I'm on point. I don't want to miss your questions. We value your questions so much. That her image in the beginning was not like what you see today. Yes, of course, ethnicity can play a role. Genes can play a role. However, the result of what you're seeing on Helen today, it's not ethnicity and genes, because Helen, I'm going to ask that you allow me to say this respectfully. When we first met, the difference between then and now is that now you see a refined look. You see that she looks lean. You see her skin looks toned. You see that her skin also looks fresh, right? It's a young, fresh image. That's not how she came to me. When she first came to me, the skin was fairly dry in certain areas, especially around her face. The tonality, she didn't have tonality. Like her arm was one arm. Whereas now you see the shoulder, and then you see the bicep separation, right? And she's proud of that. And you should be. You work so hard. That's not how she showed up at my front door at the gym when she walked in. It was a different body, right? So yes, what you see today is more based on the hard work and the transformation of her daily routine versus the ethnicity and the genes, which of course, you're right, it does play a role. But in my experience, it's like 20% ethnicity and genes, 80% hard work, the willingness to change and to do things in a different way to produce what you see on your screen today.
Thank you, Allan. Honestly, before I met you, I thought that was it for me. I thought I'm going to stuck with the glutes that I wasn't happy with, because I didn't think that our glute muscle can grow at this age. So you surprised me, and so thank you so much. Next question by Jess. This one, Jessica, amazing goals. What is your nutrition?
Her nutrition. So again, nutrition is different today from 2018. If I had to sum it up, so it's a little more generic, it's always a mix between good hydration, balanced supplementation, because food alone doesn't create this result. She uses natural supplements, so nothing chemical based or anything crazy. Supplements, and the way she balances her food. Okay, so it's hydration, it's food, supplements, and a constant change in the way that she works out. Her workouts are never the same between month to month. We cycle through a series of different workouts, so her muscles are constantly stimulated.
Thank you so much, Allan. For me, it was I got rid of for nutrition, a lot of the processed food. So I'm taking a lot of whole food.
Right.
And of course, alcohol, I've reduced that to almost 99%.
Right, that's the big one, definitely. It dries out the skin like crazy.
And water intake, of course, lots of that. Thank you so much, Allan. And next question, super job. Would love to see a before photo. So many ladies would like to see.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? Well, I'll find you some, because I have the records from when you were first training. I'll dig some of those up, and then you can share it with the ladies.
Thank you. Next one, probably Jess Wong. But what is your skincare routine?
Good question. That one came up a lot to what Helen told me. And it's not as simple as just use this cream or use this lotion. I would love to say that, but I've been there with her to help her figure out her skin routine to make it look like the way it does now. Like now she glows. Now her skin helps show off more of the cut in her body, like her muscle definition. So there's a series of things that we do, but if I had to sum it up again, number one, we had to make sure hydration was on point. No matter what skin product that the ladies use, at least for my athletes, Helen included, what I find is if their diet doesn't support the ability to rejuvenate the skin, then all the products in the world they can use. But what I find is that they end up spending too much money on products because they keep having to use so much, or they end up using it and they don't get the same kind of result. So in conclusion, we helped Helen work internally first to make sure the output of what her body was producing supported the ability to regenerate and improve a younger, firmer, healthier looking set of skin. So that would probably have to save for another one, because it's a little more, it's like a recipe for a meal. Like you never just say, I use salt and pepper. No, like there's a series of things you do to create an amazing dish. Helen's skin, like her workouts, is like an amazing recipe. So I don't want to make this video too long, but just think of it this way. Like, what are you putting in your body that's helping your skin either look healthier or not healthier? It's usually one or the other.
Next question by N. Beautiful. I would love to know if your trainer does virtual training or if you have a training plan to recommend.
For virtual training, yes and no. There's times that we have available. I don't want to turn this into a promotional video for our stuff, but I mean, if there's something specific that you wanted to do, please DM Helen directly. I want to be respectful to the group and not turn this into a promo. But there are some things that we do on the side. Feel free to ask her. In terms of training plan recommended, In all honesty, like I said earlier, every person is different. So a training program that would work best for you would really be based on what are your personal goals, what parts of your body do you want to improve on, and what time frame do you have to create this result. Like for Helen, 2018, she had all year because she just wanted to just feel better about herself, just feel younger, feel a little stronger. She already looked good in clothes. What she said to me at the time is she wants to look good in her bikini, but there was no set time. So we had all year, right? Now, when she decided on February 4th, 2019, to prepare to go up on a stage against women who are nearly half her age, okay, the game completely changed. And she went from, okay, we'll do this casually, to, okay, we got to get this done in 6 months, to, no, that's going to take too long, Allan. I want to get this done in 3 months. So the lifestyle and what to do completely changed. So again, if you want something more specific, ask Helen. That's probably the best way to go to start.
Yes, Allan. I stopped buying bikini after age 45. It was depressing. You know, you look at them, you try the bikini on, and you don't look good at it. It was frustrating. So right now I can put on a bikini and actually enjoy looking at myself.
That's the way it should be.
Thank you. Next question. Wow, what do you normally eat? Your skin also looks amazing, despite the DNA. I'm sure that your eating routine looks completely different than mine.
Completely different than, you know what? Yeah, that's well said, because Helen's eating routine in 2020 is completely different from Helen's routine in 2018 for her eating. And this goes back very similarly to all the other questions. It really does boil down to making sure you're hydrated, making sure your proteins, carbs, and fibers are balanced, which can sound difficult in the beginning if we don't know what to look for. If anybody wants it, you can just let Helen know and we can share with you the ratio, the actual, it's like a mathematics, simple 1+1 type of ratio that we use to help her stay on point, which is nice because it's not a lot to remember. It's not a lot to adjust. It's almost like remembering a phone number. Once you remember the digits to the phone number, you can connect, you can make that connection. Once you know the digits to your body that needs the transitional change and what it requires, then you can do it at any point in time of your life. You just got to know what to do, what to look for.
Right. Thank you. Next question. Can we see your ID? You look in your early 30s.
ID, no.
Thank you for the question. I'm flattered. Yeah, I think it's 30s.
No driver's license.
20 years younger.
Yeah, but no, she's definitely, like I'm 42 and she is 10 years, I know she doesn't look it, but she's 10 years my senior. So she's definitely 52. She used to come to one of the gyms that I trained in, and she had to put down her birth date there. So I can definitely attest that on her registration at our gym, she definitely is 52.
Well, my oldest daughter is 24 this year. So
nice. There you go.
Thank you. Next question. Real question is, what is your skin routine?
What is your skin routine? Really common question, even outside of this group. Again, like from previous answers, it's always important to look at what you're consuming on a daily basis, because what you consume helps your body rejuvenate to look and feel younger or older. And one of the challenges here, living here in North America, is that we're not taught that. We're usually taught, if you want to look younger, go get the cream, go get the lotion. Yes, that actually applies. And later in other videos, Helen can share with you additions to her skin routines that do have some creams and lotions and stuff. But what we find is that when someone does not work on the internal part and just works on the external applications, a lot of times you don't get this kind of vibrant, young, healthy looking results. Or if you do, you got to put on a lot more cream and a lot more lotions. And who wants to do that, right? It's so much better, what we find, to actually consume foods and supplements that help the skin rejuvenate to look younger, and then use creams or lotions as the secondary means, as like the icing on the cake. You know, you make the cake taste good, the icing tastes even better with it together. But if you got a cake that tastes like, oh, it's okay, then you put the icing on, then it's still like an okay cake, right?
Yes, one of the most, the least expensive ingredient I use is water.
Right, which is
to
totally
keep my skin hydrated.
Yeah, it's
everyone
undervalued.
can afford that.
Right, and a lot of people don't even realize how important it is. Like we've seen Helen, and we'll show you later. We've seen when Helen's skin is dehydrated, and we've seen when Helen's skin, like now, is fully hydrated. Like every day, she's very aware of how much water she drinks. And if she doesn't drink enough water, you see it in the skin. You know, you see that for anybody, right?
Yeah, it's so simple. I understand some people don't like water, but that's the least expensive. I call it something for your skin.
Right.
Thank you, Ellen. Next question. Amazing. Please post your before pictures as well. So many people want to see my before.
Definitely, we'll get on that.
Okay. This is one by Eileen. I want to start doing bikini competitions too. I'm 48. I need to lose my quarantine 15. Then I want to get a coach. You inspire me.
That's awesome. You know what? That's so cool, because the amount of women that are in their 50s and their 40s, even in their 60s, that are now getting up on stage, they're now competing, is phenomenal. Like Helen, you know, from last year, the amount of women that were in their 50s that look like they're in their 30s is just tremendous. Like I've been doing this since 2009, and then on stage myself 2013. There were never, like there was like one guy in his 60s that went up, and there was no women when I competed in 2013. Then when my friends went, there would be like one or two, right? And then three, maybe like 2014, 2015. But now, like there's so many women in their 50s. So if that's your goal, good on you. Like if that's your goal to look younger, I'm telling you, it is more than possible. You just have to know how to do it, and then make it part of your life. And it's something that you learn to enjoy versus something you have to do. Very possible for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I am actually those organizations who created all these events for us athletes to be able to have the opportunity to show off our body, our confidence, just the whole package, right?
Right.
Thank you. Next question again. Drop that skin routine, please.
Drop that skin routine. Water. And we say, you know, we keep going back to the water because everything that Helen does is foundational. There's an old saying, it's a little repetitive, redundant, but it makes so much sense. You know, Bruce Lee used to say, you know, I don't fear the guy who practices 10,000 punches once. I fear the person who has one punch and practices it 10,000 times. In contrast, if you hear of other greats, like people who create amazing results, a lot of them will tell you they don't do extraordinary things. What they do is they do the basic things in a very extraordinary way. So going back to the water, it sounds so simple, and it is, but because it's so simple, a lot of people write it off as like, oh, well, it can't be that easy. Well, actually, because our bodies are made of 75%, 80% water, not having enough of it stops your body from bringing out the best of itself. And because we know most North Americans are dehydrated on a regular basis, the first thing to start off with is water. Because if without water, all the extra hydration, nutrition, all the other stuff that your body needs to absorb to transform, it doesn't get absorbed. It doesn't even get used, like a very small percentage of it. And who wants to do that, right?
Thank you so much, Allan. You mentioned so much about water. How much water would you recommend for an individual? I mean, everybody's body is different.
Everybody's body is different. And again, just to recap, I'm not a doctor. Okay, I'm not even a nutritionist. I'm someone who is very active in this industry. Okay, so please don't take this as doctor's advice. I'm not a doctor. But the results we've created tell us that we're on the right track. And what we usually do is we recommend that for every person that wants to start hydrating their body, a minimum for a sedentary person should be half your body weight in ounces. So let's say you're a 100-pound female, then what you'll need in a minimum is 50 ounces. And you can Google how many glasses that is, of course, but 50 ounces minimum per day. If you're an athlete or training regularly to become an athlete, that average goes to 1-to-1. So if you're a 100-pound female, usually you'll need an average of about 100 ounces a day. Not in one sitting though. So it's not like, oh, let me take this giant milk jug and just dump it down my throat. I should be good for all day. No. You got to sip it throughout the day. So it's more casual, it's more comfortable, and your body constantly stays hydrated.
I don't know. Water has made a huge difference when I work out to prevent many of the issues women have, like spasm, like better performance in the gym.
Right. Absolutely. 100%.
Thank you so much. Okay, next question. You look incredible. Thank you, ladies. Go you. Can you share your top tips?
Can you share your top tips for looking incredible?
I guess so.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You just shot me there. Yeah. You look incredible. Go you. Could you share your top tips? From Amelia Moylet. Thank you, Amelia, for that. Sorry, I should have read it when you sent it over. Top tips for Helen is, number one, make sure that you're always incorporating the 80-20 rule. So 80% of what she consumes is good, healthy food based on her metabolism type. That's key. Okay, there's 3 different types of metabolisms that everybody has. And she happens to be what's called an ectomorph, which is the metabolism type where they burn everything super fast. And it's very hard for them to gain weight. And it's hard for them to even gain muscle. She'll gain muscle fast, but then she'll lose it fast. That's how her body's structured. So the stuff she consumes is made to support her body's ability to build muscle, to keep the muscle, and to slow down the burning process of muscle while at the same time lowering the body fat. Sounds technical for sure, but when you dive into it, like anything else, you start to realize that it's not that complicated once you understand which one of the 3 your body type is and how your body works and how to best support it.
Thank you, Allan, so much. Next question. This is about stretch mark. Are you for real? You have no stretch marks. How? I have stretch marks all over my body. Will you be kind enough to share tips?
Yes. Okay. So real quick, being her coach and helping her get bikini ready to get on stage for 5 different competitions, I was one of the guys or one of the people that had to recognize the stretch marks. And let's just be really honest. You do have them. Like you got them. The way that we did it though is we know that stretch marks don't fully go away. So as a coach and as someone who had to help her prepare to compete for bikini competitions, what they look for is symmetry. What they look for is a certain level of muscle tonality. And we had to make sure that her stretch marks did not impede the judge's decisions for the sculpting and for the shape of her muscles and just how she looked overall. So what we found in a nutshell, again, this is the short answer, and we can deep dive into this later on, is that if you got stretch marks, there's ways that you can minimize the visual presentation of those stretch marks. So that way, even though you have them, you don't necessarily see them unless you're like right here. That's like right in your face. And one of the simplest ways we found is that when the muscle is grown and it's toned, so when you grow the muscle to a certain volume and then you minimize the body fat, what that does is it helps stretch the skin a little. And when it stretches the skin, it tightens the skin. And generally speaking, if you have tighter looking skin, the stretch marks on your body become a little less noticeable. There are other things to do that help support less visualization of stretch marks, but that was the first step that we had to take. We knew that any other creams and lotions and potions, anything else that you wanted to apply, it won't be as effective as if you start from the source, which is build the muscle, shape it, and then melt the body fat enough so the muscle can protrude through the skin so you can actually see the muscle, right? It's kind of like when you look at a sculpture, like let's say you see those Greek god and goddesses sculptures and you see them and you take a photo and it's like, oh my God, all these sculptures. They got like these nice looking muscles and they look super powerful. But then if you go up close to the sculpture, it's made of stone, you'll see there's scratch marks on it. You see there's nick marks on it. You see there's like little imperfections on it, right? I'm actually talking about a real sculpture. You don't see that from a distance. And what you ladies saw and what you're seeing here is through a camera and from a distance. So she still has them. Like we're here to be very transparent. She still has stretch marks, but we built her body in a way that you don't really notice it unless you're sticking your nose right to her face or her body, which I don't think you would probably want to do.
All right. Next question by Sharon Townsend. Wow, you are so beautiful. Thank you again. Just asked my daughter how old you were. She said about 35. Wow, what an amazing body. What do you eat?
What do you eat? So she doesn't eat like rabbit food, okay? Let's be very clear. A lot of people think you have to be overly strict. And the truth is yes, you do, but only for a block period of time. Once you've hit a certain goal, like how Helen has achieved a lot of accomplishments with her body now, she's much more flexible where she can, per se, have her cake and eat it too. Because of the length of this video, again, we're trying to keep it short for respect for your time. The easiest way to look at this is to use the 80-20 rule. In 24 hours or in 16 hours or however long that you're awake, every day we're making food choices. The simplest way to do this that I've always asked Helen to follow is take 80% of what you consume in a day, make sure it's food that supports the results you want. And that usually rolls down to proteins, carbohydrates, and fibers, and of course some fats, but fats is usually like when you start to eat food, there's usually fats included anyway, right? And then 20% you can have of like your junk food, your play food, your comfort food, just makes you feel good, but doesn't really do much for your body. In the beginning, depending on the severity of how much someone really wants to transform, 80-20 is usually good. Now, if someone like Helen, she had to prepare in 3 months for stage, that was out. It was like 95-5, right? 95% of what she ate had to support her transformation. But if you're not trying to get on stage, if you're not trying to look good in 90 days, if you're giving yourself more time, 80-20 is perfect.
Yeah, just like for any tournament that we prepare for the few weeks, it's very important, right? Right now, it's more flexible.
Agreed.
I mean, I wanted to enjoy my life too, party sometimes.
Right, and sometimes you can now.
Yes, thank you, Allan. Next question. You have amazing skin. I have so many stretch marks and loose skin, and that's just from one child.
Really good statement. Helen, when she first came to me, she had loose skin. When she first came to me, she had stretch marks. The lucky part for Helen was that it was in places where she could, by majority, hide it. The challenge was that she couldn't hide it once she put on a bikini. And her goal was to be able to not be on the stage, but she had told me in the first few days before she started her program with me, she just wanted to feel good about her body no matter what she wore. And that included a 2-piece bikini or a 1-piece. And to do that, certain areas like the glutes, like the back of the legs, the hamstrings, I find are very common places where the females will collect a lot of body fat or cellulite per se, and which a lot of times can turn into stretch marks if there's a big fluctuation in the weight. So going back to what I said earlier, as long as you learn to lower the body fat, increase the muscle ratio, it'll start to help tighten the skin because there's more muscle in there. And when it's tighter skin, it becomes visually harder to see the stretch marks on your body. So just basically lower the body fat, increase the muscle mass, and you might really be happy with the results that you produce.
Thank you, Allan. A couple more questions. Again, he says, love to see your before. I guess the before.
That is like a mandatory. We'll get on it. We will get on it just for you. Definitely.
Okay. And second last question right here we have, your face doesn't even look 52. How?
Doesn't even look 52. There's a series of answers for that. Again, it's like a meal. If you look at a fabulous chef, they don't just have a 1-2 step. They have a series of steps that they take in order to produce that result. In order for Helen to have a younger looking face, which by the way, it does. Like, yeah, who was it that just said the other day, on a side note, who else was it? I think it was one of our clients that said, Helen, I've known you for X number of years. Your face doesn't even look the same now compared to what it did in 2018. And that's so true. Again, the first step being that in order to change the face, like the rest of your body, you have to hydrate it. And you got to make sure, I didn't say this earlier, but I should say it now. Being able to hydrate your body also balances the alkaline level in your body. In other words, if the body is too acidic, having something like a fresh looking, young looking face becomes very hard to accomplish. But once you start drinking more water and your body becomes more alkaline than acidic, now you've got a foundation where anything you apply, whether it's a cream, a lotion, whether you're going for a tan outside in the sun for a few minutes to get a nice darker tone, whatever you do, the skin is much more ready and prepared to support a younger looking image versus just trying to do all those things and the skin is dehydrated or doesn't have enough nutrition. So it can't replenish itself in a younger, fresher looking way. It just doesn't work as well. So step number 1, work on the inside, make sure your hydration is up and make sure the foods you're eating support healthier skin. We don't need to tell you that stuff. You can just Google, what foods give me better skin at age, whatever, 49 and being a female. And there's all sorts of articles you can find online to do that.
Okay, next question and last question. Thank you, Allan, is, sister, you are not 50. Oh, so flattered. Don't give me this kind of hope. What is your regimen?
What's your regimen? In short, the short answer is make fitness a part of your lifestyle if you aren't already, although I'm sure you are. What I mean more specifically is find out what your metabolism type is, because there's only 3, right? When you find that out, ask yourself, are you eating and training to support how your metabolism functions? Because if you do, you get a faster result. And if you don't, then you still get a result, but it takes 3, 4, 5 times longer to produce. And I find, again, generally speaking, because there's so many people watching this video, I find that generally speaking, a lot of people will start off with the overall cookie cutter approach, which is fine. I don't mean it disrespectfully. Cookie cutter, like everybody does it. They'll try to eat well, they try to work out, and they'll just eat and sleep and work out and repeat it. Kind of like that motto that's going around on the internet. That is fine to get the ball rolling and to start seeing some improvements. But when we're talking about definition, when we're talking about like that next level of results, like what a lot of you are perceiving Helen's results to be, that becomes much more custom tailored, kind of like buying a custom tailored dress or a suit, or custom tailoring your kitchen. Like you can get the generic stuff at the store, or you can have someone come over. Let's say it's your blouse or your dress. You can have them measure your shoulders and your waist and your bust, and then have them make clothes that are perfectly fitted to you. Knowing which one of the 3 metabolism types you are is the first step to customizing your workout plan that's right for you, that works better for you, and the eating method that'll help support your goals. So you can Google that. You can Google online, like what are the 3 different metabolism types? And then usually a lot of the articles will tell you how to notice which one of the 3 you are. And then once you figure that out, then you can just Google how to eat for this metabolism type X, right? And then once you figure that out, then you're pretty much on your way to producing Helen Fong type results.
Thank you so much, Allan. I think this is the number of questions that I got from their comments, and we can share more when we have a chance to get the comments keep coming. So right now I wanted to serve the lady to answer some of the questions as fast as possible. So thank you so much.
No problem. And thanks for having me here. Ladies, it's been fun. I hope we've shared some value with you today. If there's anything that you want to ask, just shoot Helen a message, private DM her. I mean, she's really nice. She's really friendly, obviously, as you know, as you're getting to know, and she's got a lot to share. So if her or myself can help you with your goals in a way that's respectful to this group and to the community, we are more than happy to do that for you, because this is what we live for. We love this stuff. We absolutely do. So
I'm just so
again.
excited. So many women wanted to take care of their body.
Yeah, me too.
So
and now they're
excited,
looking
yes.
up to you to do it. So good job.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope this helps, ladies, and I will speak to you next time.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Allan.